Well, if we're gonna find any ghosts, we better split up.
You're listening to Never Split Up, a horror movie podcast.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
Hey everyone, once again to the Never Split Up podcast. My name's Nolan along with Anthony, and today is episode 90. We are covering I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, released in 1998. What's up, Ant? How you doing? Did you get your rewatch in for this movie?
I did get my rewatch. I mean, I know this movie like by heart, but I always try to watch it a few times over the summer, so I did get my rewatch in.
Now, did you watch the original as well? I know that's your baby as well, so...
Yeah, so what I do is...
recently?
Yeah, so every 4th of July, I watch them back to back. But it's so hard for me not to watch the original and this one together, because there's only 2 movies in the franchise so far, until, in my opinion, I disregard the direct-to-video trash that came out, and there's only 2 movies until, a couple weeks from now, so it's always easy to watch them both back to back all the time. It's not like, 7 movies or anything, so I try to watch them, together whenever I watch one.
Okay, so you're going to have to watch them again this upcoming weekend.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, and I will, 100%.
Yeah.
And I'll watch it again before I go see the new one.
Yeah, we're releasing this on July 2nd, so happy
Right.
4th of July weekend, everyone. If you're listening, it's going to be a good weekend. 4th of July is on a Friday, which is cool. And yeah, we thought we'd kind of get this episode out for the holiday, and obviously just in time for the new movie to come out, which everyone knows Ant is super pumped about.
Yes.
We're both pumped. I'm excited to see it. I hope they kind of do it justice, do the characters justice, and do a good story. So I'm excited. But yeah, let's get into everything. You said you wanted to announce a couple polls winners and stuff. Do you want to cover that real quick?
Yeah, let's get into it, guys. It's been a rough last week. I don't know if any of you know, I did lose my dad. He passed away, but I just want to say thank you for everybody. I know I don't know you guys personally, but a lot of people reached out. I appreciated the support. And he loved the podcast. He's the reason why I love horror. No one grew up with him, or you always watched horror movies. So thank you guys for everything. And I'm just happy we're coming back to a movie I'm passionate about. I'm happy, very happy we're doing this. Sorry, Megan, but we'll get to Megan. We'll, wrap around and get back to Megan. But yeah, thank you guys for everything. But I did run the poll for our favorite chase scene episode. And people love their chase scenes. So we got a huge turnout. Both got a lot of votes, but Helen Shivers did win out by a large margin. But just the votes in general, we got so many. And everyone was so passionate on both sides. So thank you guys so much. I have to run our polls for The Creature from the Black Lagoon and 28 Weeks Later. So make sure you guys check out those 2 episodes. And I still need to see 28 Years Later and Megan 2 before we cover them. So no one's ahead of the game on me now. So I have some catching up to do. But yeah, I'm excited to check out all the new releases. So make sure you guys check out those, past couple episodes and get ready for the polls to come out.
Yeah, for sure. We had to skip Megan last week because of the passing of your fathers, and rest in peace to him. Yeah, he was a great guy, and he's definitely going to be missed. We had a fun time though, celebrating his life on Sunday, so that was a good time. And yeah, I've seen the support too on the pages, so we definitely appreciate it. And I know Anthony, you appreciate it. But so what do we have coming up next week? What are our episodes coming up? Do you want to run down the quick schedule?
Yeah, let me pull that up. I believe we're gonna go after this week. We're gonna wrap around back to 28 Years Later. I really have to see that. Let me just double check. We can obviously make tweaks if we have to, but I know our plan was to cover all the new ones coming out leading up to I Know What You Did Last Summer. All right, let's see. So yeah, we're coming up. We're gonna do 28 Years Later next week. And then I had scheduled in Megan 2. I don't know if we want to push that back. We can get back to Megan and do those 2 back to back. We can talk about that. And then after we cover Megan and Megan 2, we're going back to I Know What You Did Last Summer for the new movie coming out. So pretty much we're doing all the new releases for the next few weeks.
If it all plays out. Stay tuned. Yeah. It's going to be going to be a busy next few weeks, and we've been busy for the last few weeks. So pretty hectic summer for horror fans, just movies in general. A lot of movies coming out back to back this summer. It's one of the more packed summer months I've seen in recent years. At least I remember, in terms of big studio releases and stuff. So it's cool to see. It's cool to see the summer blockbusters kind of thriving and everything. So that's great. But yeah, without further ado, let's cover I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Again, released in 1998, the direct sequel to I Know What You Did Last Summer. And as always, you can cover the synopsis and cast and crew.
For sure. All right, guys, so the IMDb synopsis is: the murderous fisherman with the hook is back to once again stalk the two surviving teens, Julie and Ray, who had left him for dead, as well as cause even more murder and mayhem, this time at a posh island resort. Like Nolan said, it came out in 1998, 1 year after I Know What You Did Last Summer, literally following the Scream formula of Scream and Scream 2, coming back year to year, back to back. It was directed by Danny Cannon, it was written by Lois Duncan and Trey Calloway, and it stars, obviously, our final girl, Jennifer Love Hewitt as Julie James, our final boy, Freddie Prinze Jr. as Ray. We have a pretty stacked cast. We have Brandy Norwood, who, fingers crossed, will be making an appearance in a few weeks in the new one. We have Mekhi Phifer. Muse Watson is back as Ben Willis. Iconic actor Bill Cobbs. We have Matthew Settle, who plays Will Benson. Jeffrey Combs, horror legend. Jennifer Esposito, and John Hawkes. And we can't forget Jack Black has a fun little quick part in this movie. But yeah, stacked cast as always, and it's the slasher sequel to the original, so it's really simple, but I can't wait to talk to you about it. Obviously, this franchise is very special to me, so I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, I know you've been looking forward to covering this sequel for a while, ever since we covered the first one. So this is gonna be a fun episode. Why don't you kick us off then, since you're so eager, and just give us your overall thoughts? And obviously, you recommend the movie because you're a big fan of this franchise. But yeah, just give us your overall thoughts and kind of how you feel about it, and then I'll kind of go next.
All right, cool. Yeah, guys, like I said, when we did our franchise episode, I'm like, I only count franchise if there's 3 or more movies, but now I'm so happy that I can officially say that this is a franchise, because like, again, I said, I don't count the trash direct-to-DVD, non-canon ripoff, but I grew up in the 90s again, so I am a little biased because these are my childhood, these movies, but I absolutely love I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. I think I love the original because it's very character focused, and our core 4, they're so good, and that's what we remember. And it kind of like, if you remember that one, again, guys, go check out our episode on the original, but it kind of builds up for a lot of the movie. There's not a lot of death, and it just kind of is like creepy and builds suspense to the finale, the last 2 acts, which I love so much. This one just really like flips it, and I feel like whereas the first one I think might be the better movie overall because of the tension and building and suspense, this is the more entertaining movie in my opinion. It's so much more fun. The kills it's campy, but not over the top camp. Everything's natural. They're just having fun and being silly in moments. They know it's ridiculous. Like I Know What You Did Last Summer. They know the plot's ridiculous, but they're having fun with it. But it also has it keeps the chase scenes, it keeps the suspense. It just really ups the body count and the gore. I absolutely love that it's on an island, and where the first one you get like the small town summer vibes, this one you have like summer vacation vibes. So these 2 movies are primetime summer horror movies in my opinion. And I respect that it changed locations, because in all these other franchises, horror or not, a lot of the time like when we do sequels, it's kind of like, all right, we're in the same town, which I love too, same place, but this one changes it up. I think that Jennifer Love Hewitt, Julie James, whereas I still defend her in the OG, I really think she comes into her own as one of my favorite final girls, and I Still Know. I think she absolutely kills it. I love Brandy as her new best friend sidekick. Obviously, unfortunately, what happened to Helen Shivers, Sarah Michelle Gellar, we all hate, but it had to happen. But I really still respect Brandy as her best friend in this one. I think Carla is an awesome addition, and I didn't think it was a ripoff Helen. I think she's a completely different character, so I love that. The cast is awesome. The kills are awesome. I love the vibe. All the money looks like it's thrown on the screen. It looks beautiful. And it's just a fun slasher sequel. I mean, that's what we come to these movies for, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I think it's pretty iconic. There's some sequences that I saw for the first time as a kid were like, this is crazy. I love it so much. We'll get into the movie, but there's so many homages to other horror movies. And it's just a blast. There's a whodunit element, and I love me some whodunit slashers. Obviously, I love Scream. And there's a twist in this movie at the end that, some people think's ridiculous, but I think it's perfect for this kind of movie. And yeah, I'm a big defender of I Still Know. I think that when it came out, it was overhated, much like a lot of the teen slashers, but now it is getting the respect it deserves. And I do see a lot of lists where the people start to respect it and appreciate it. And some people are like, yeah, fuck it, it's more fun than the original. I love this one more. So I'm obsessed with it. I gave the first one an all-timer score. This one's also an all-timer. We'll just see where it lines up with the OG. So I cannot wait to get into it. You knew I was obviously very obsessed with this one. So yeah, huge recommend,
Yeah.
guys. Check it out.
Okay, yeah, there you go. So this is going to be a fun episode. This movie is a complete miss for me.
Mm.
I believe I gave the first one a mid-8s. I think it was like an 8.4.
You gave it
8.5.
8.4.
Yeah, it's not going to be anywhere close to the first
Okay.
one. I don't think it holds a candle. It's not as entertaining as the first one whatsoever.
Really?
I think its biggest flaw is it's so boring. This
What?
movie, the kills are not inventive. They're not suspenseful. They do the same tricks throughout the movie that just get very repetitive. The score is one of my least favorite scores in any horror movie,
What?
especially the like campy horror movies. It's too over the top, way too over the top with the score and just the fake out. There's so many fake out jump scares that are just so repetitive. I don't like this movie, so this is
Aw.
going to be interesting. I was struggling just to get through this rewatch. Every time I try
Really?
to watch this movie and give it a fair shake, especially for this podcast. I try to be critical, but I try to, when I know I don't love a movie, I try to go in with a fresh set of eyes. It just sucked me back into just not liking it, though. I don't know. There's not much there for me. Obviously, Jennifer Love Hewitt is a great actress. She's pretty good in this movie. I think they didn't use her effectively. Obviously, Freddie Prinze Jr. is not in the movie as nearly as much as he should be. I think it would have benefited if he was just with the cast on the island the whole movie and they didn't do what they did. And he wasn't like the savior at the end. Yeah, we can get into more of what I don't like about it, but it's just overall flat for me. I don't think there's any highlights. The ending is obviously the best part of the movie because it has some chase scenes. Finally, you get like one or two little chase scenes. Nothing touches the chase scenes from the original, though, in this film. So even the highs in this film don't even touch the original. I just think it's a big step downward. And when you have the first movie and it's so solid for a slasher, you're gonna have to live up to those standards. And so I think if this movie had like a different title and wasn't in this franchise, maybe I would have a little bit more fun with it. But comparing it to the original, it's a total miss. I hope they kind of retcon the whole movie in this new one.
They're not.
I don't want to see Brandy just because I don't want to be reminded that this movie exists. So we'll see.
We're a
but
complete opposite, dude. We're complete opposite.
we're
on this
pretty
movie.
much complete opposite. I mean, it's not a dumpster fire. I don't think it's going to be my lowest score ever on this podcast, but it's definitely not great, and I struggle to get through it. I mean, it's over an hour and a half. I think it could have been cut a little bit. It's a little long for what the movie is because it's so straightforward. You get so many fake outs. The beginning of the movie drags. I'm sorry. The beginning,
I don't think
until
so.
they get to the island, it's like, all right, come on. Like, we know what's going on. She's got PTSD. Like we've seen this before, and let's cut to the chase here. So yeah, I just don't love this movie. I think if it had more inventive kills and maybe a little bit better set pieces for the kills for the side characters, like all the resort workers and stuff, maybe it would have more legs. But I think a lot of the deaths in the middle of this movie are very forgettable, and it just doesn't do anything for me. So I can't really, in good conscience, recommend this movie.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Even
I
if you
love
like
it.
the original, because I like the original. It's so different. Like you said, it's different in a good way for you. It's different in a bad way for me. It's not as suspenseful. It's kind of more campy and just kind of tries to have fun. But I just think they missed the mark. So I'm gonna say it's not a recommend for me, unfortunately.
No, bummer. This is one of my babies. I'm obsessed with it. Yeah, I love them both for like the reasons that you say. I think they're both so good because they mesh, they like flow together, but they also are so different. But all right, let's get into it. So we're really gonna, diverge on a lot of this.
Yes, we are. So what do you think of like the whole opening with her at school and
Love it.
kind of being
Love it.
paranoid and stuff. It works for
Love
you.
the
Obviously. I mean,
love the
talk about
homage
like
to
the
Nightmare on
beginning,
Elm Street.
the intro and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it's literally a nightmare sequence. Big homage to Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street. But I think that because we're not. And a lot of these sequels, it's like they had the opening scene, then we're slowly introduced to our characters from the OG, which I love too. But this one, we're literally just thrown in with Jennifer Love Hewitt, with Julie James, and she's in the church, walking up to her confession, because obviously the big theme of the first one was they did do something. Well, they thought they did something really bad, and she was living with that the whole runtime of that movie, and obviously where the first movie leaves off, there was resolution, but not, because they never found his body. So she's obviously affected, and she lost her two really good friends. So I thought it was really good introduction. I like how Jennifer Love Hewitt's emotional, and I liked how we bring up Helen and Barry's name. I hate when in sequels like it's kind of like they died, let's move on. I like that they're thrown some respect. And I like that she wakes up screaming in the classroom, like direct Nancy Thompson, right there, homage. I love it. I appreciate that her and Ray, they're still together, but I like how they start the movie with some conflict. So that gets me like pulled in, and really on like come on, Ray, like Julie was going through it, like he wants her to go back for 4th of July to Southport, and she's not ready, and he's kind of like giving her a hard time. But you also understand his perspective, like, you can be here with your friends, and he sees her kind of like, this guy's obviously hitting on her, this guy Will, and, he's like, who's that, blah, blah, blah. But I just think that the dynamic with them two, it's like we didn't miss a beat, and I actually think their relationship and their on-screen chemistry is stronger in this one, even though Freddie Prinze Jr. is still supporting. I actually appreciated his usage more in this movie than the first one. I feel like I think my one nitpick when we did that one was that he wasn't used enough. He was kind of just showing up, and he was like, not the weak link, not the acting, but the character-wise, he was the weak link out of the four of them. This one, I really like their relationship together and their conflict, and I think that he does way better in this one. So yeah, I think the reintroduction to Julie and Ray was handled very well, and I like that we meet, Carla, her roommate, the whole crew. I think the introduction to the characters is great. And I don't think we take too long. I think it's pretty much her nightmare. She sees Ray, goes home, sees Brandy, they go out clubbing when she's working, and then they like win the getaway and go on vacation. So I don't think we're wasting too much time. I think it was needed. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I didn't appreciate all the fake outs and all, like we've seen. It's like so repetitive with at the nightclub and the apartment, and the score is exactly the same in every scene. It's like, okay, we just saw this scene, but it was in a different location. Their relationship, Ray and Julie, is, I guess, fine, because I guess they're still together. It is kind of a nitpick when sequels do that, though, when they kind of just separate their mains after, like, they're the big heroes in the first movie, and all of a sudden they're kind of. But for this story, it makes sense. I get it.
Right.
I think that Ray is valid. I think Julie is valid too. It's only been a year since the events of the first movie, so she's not quite ready to go to Southport. But it is kind of like, do you guys talk anymore? It's almost like they haven't even communicated, because all of this is they're kind of hashing this out about the weekend, like on screen. It's like, shouldn't you guys called each other beforehand and like flesh this out? Maybe you could have planned a trip somewhere else or something. I don't know. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. I don't blame Ray at all. I don't know how you feel about Ray when it comes time when they did win the trip, and she calls Ray to go to the Bahamas.
Like, you can go away with your friends,
kind
but
of
you can't come
frame it.
home to me.
Right. Yeah, they kind of frame it because like Julie is kind of the POV in this scene, and they frame it like she's in the right and Ray's being kind of
I agree.
Weird, but I'm Team Ray. He's got a job to do. I mean, he's a fisherman. You can't just spring something on him last minute like that and expect for him. And he really did try, and he was gonna go, obviously, but until the events happened. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of Julie because he doesn't show up, which Julie thinks it's he stood her up, but he never committed to going. And then all of a sudden, Julie's like all over Will when they get to the resort. So kind of, I don't know.
Well, she's not all over him. He's trying to be all over her.
She's not, like, oh, he's cute. Like, should I feel bad? Like, this guy's cute.
Yeah,
like,
well, no.
Are they together, her and Ray, or are they not? It was kind of vague how they kind of introduced our characters.
I think they're just like relationship, troubles, like tumultuous, relationship.
Yeah.
They're together. And I am Team Julie because it's like, well, first of all, we find out he's like, damn, we haven't caught anything, whatever. Like, you fucking stupid. You should go be with your girlfriend. She's clearly not in the right headspace. Go support her. But I think that when he said, I'll try, and Carla's like, tries maybe, tries bullshit. So I fucking agree, and I wish
Well,
that
it wasn't though. 'Cause
Well,
he really did try.
he tried it, but he changed his mind. He was like stupid, like you know what I mean. He's like, "What am I doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, you fucking idiot. Your fucking hot girlfriend's asking you to the Bahamas. You go." And we find out he has a ring to propose too. So I just think that with many relationships, I think their issue is huge communication issues. Because if my opinion, it was cute to want to surprise her, but fucking call her back and like, I changed my mind. I'll be there.
Yeah.
Like, communication is lacking. But
Well,
I do
yeah,
like
it's one of those where as soon as you hear that, you're like, oh, something's gonna go down. Like, yeah.
Right. So she thinks that he didn't show up, but obviously something bad. I do like that set piece. We'll get to it, but like I said again, I like when she goes back to her place. Again, we don't do this in many movies. I like that she has the picture of Helen. She has that moment where she kind of like caresses it before she gets woken up thinking someone's in the house, but it's Brandy. I really like the reintroduction. I like the jump scare in the beginning with the hook when her nightmare sequence. I didn't need the Brandy thing, but again, that was like cute and fun. It doesn't bother me. Do you think this thing in the club, because when I first watched it as a kid, I'm like, oh, like she's seeing things again. But when you find out the twist at the end, it's like, do you think he was actually there at the club or not now? Like, what do you think about the club scene, the fisherman? Do you still think it was in her head, or do you think that he was there with Will?
I think he was in her head.
Okay.
Personally,
I lean towards that too, just
it
because
could
a
be
fisherman
either
at
or.
a club. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it could be either or, but
Yeah.
I think it was in her head. I think Ben was off getting ready to trap Ray. Not to jump ahead too much, but
Right.
and we have Will is with them, so it couldn't have been Will. So I think it's a little, like you said, a fisherman in a club. I don't know if he would have.
I mean, we've seen more hokey things in slashers, but yeah,
yeah, that's true. I know, but I
used to always think I'm like it's fake, but when you watch, I'm like, oh, like that's his son, so maybe. But I think I lean towards your side where he's I think that what's getting here, I think that Will is like he's playing dumb. Obviously, he's like, what's wrong, what's going on? But I think that's also feeding into her getting, like he's getting her. If you rewatch it, like knowing the twist, like he's there for her, but also the things he's saying could be what's getting her worked up because he's being false supportive. So I think that's fake. But again, I think the crew is fun. I like Mekhi Phifer in this. Him and Brandy are fun and hilarious together. The guy just wants to eat and have sex on strip. That's his whole character arc, which is hilarious. I don't know. It's just fun vibes, fun 90s vibes. So you think it takes too long before they leave for the Bahamas for the race stuff, or you think it's just like too long?
It's not even like the runtime. It just drags. It's because it has all these different fake outs and everything. I don't know. I didn't watch these back to back, but if I did watch them back to back, I would be even more pissed off just because I'm like, all right, let's cut to the chase here, So I like Tyrell and Carla. They're cool. They're great supporting actors. The issue is we only have the four, so it's Julie, Tyrell, Carla, and we have Will. Is the core four, if you will, not to mention Scream, but that's why I think Ray could have been an interesting fifth if they could have gotten him onto the island too, because you have these kind of larger than life side characters, that are a couple, and then you have Will, who to me it's painfully obvious that he's the killer.
Oh, really?
I mean, throughout this entire movie.
Really?
I mean it's pretty. I think it's pretty obvious if you're a fan of slashers and a fan of whodunit. So then you just have Will, and then you just have Julie. So there's not a lot going on. So I think throwing Ray into the fold would have been really cool, and I do think he was a little underutilized.
So you wanted Ray on the island the whole time?
Only because the scenes he was in, he fucking kills. I mean, he does a great job.
He's so good. I think
you'll see the scene with Ben in the road and everything. I think he does a great job, and he does a great job when he's trying to get to the island.
So good.
So I wanted to see more of him and more interaction with him and Julie throughout the movie. So I think maybe if they could have done it differently to where he doesn't go with them, but he gets to the island a lot sooner, maybe
Okay.
like as they find the bodies, he shows up, not like at the very end. That would have been
Okay.
cooler. But yeah, I do think he was underutilized yet again, just because every time he is on screen, he does such a great job.
I mean, I will always take more. I mean, Freddie Prinze Jr., 90s icon. Obviously, I hope that him and Jennifer Love Hewitt, I know they're not the main characters, but I hope they're utilized very well in the new
Yeah.
one. But I would have been down for him to show up as they found the bodies, but I think that because he was sprinkled in, I'm fine with it. And I think
So you
watching it,
think? Sorry to interrupt.
no.
Just
No, you
before I
can
forget,
ask your question.
while we're
Yeah.
on the topic of this.
Yeah.
So you think the four characters, Julie, Carla, Will, and Tyrell, are enough? Like with the resort people, do you think?
Yeah,
that's
I'm
enough
I'm
of
good
a
with it because
kind of
again we
diversity?
have like our typical Friday the 13th throwaway employees that are
Yeah,
slashed, which
well,
that
yeah.
keeps us entertained for the runtime, which I like. But I think as far as like our mains, that I think that the character development was good enough. I really do love Carla a lot, and the other two obviously I don't love them as much, but I think they vibed well. And it's so funny that you say that because everyone compares, like, I know he did that summer in Scream, like, it's because of Scream, but Kevin Williamson actually wrote I Know You Did Somebody for Scream. And I never looked, I mean, the first one was a whodunit, but going into the sequel, the first time I saw it, I always just assumed because his body was never found, I'm like, it's not going to be a whodunit sequel. It's just Ben Willis going to come back for Julian Ray. So when you say it was obvious the first time about Will, I mean, going back now, it's like, oh, there's clues there. But the first time watching it, I wasn't even anticipating like two killers or like a whodunit bad. So when that came the first time, I was like, Ben's son. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? So I actually wasn't watching it in that mindset the first few times. Now, obviously, going back, it's cool that it is a whodunit. So, but it's funny to me that you said
So
it
I'm
was obvious.
surprised,
'Cause to me, it
especially because
wasn't. Yeah.
you're such a huge fan of Scream and all that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so. I mean, every time Will leaves our characters, like something happens. So
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty obvious, but I guess yeah, if you're not like in that frame of mind, like thinking that it's going to be
Right.
done it, yeah, that they can take advantage of that.
I
But I
can't wait
think
to get to
just
that
on the
twist.
heels of Scream and Scream 2, I mean, this came out right after
Right.
Scream 2, just like the original came out right after Scream. There's so many similarities, and they really doubled down on the whodunit of it all, obviously, in this one. So, yeah.
And as far as Ray, if you do watch it back to back, it's good. I think it's good because in the first one we talked about, he kind of like, for lack of, he's kind of a bitch. Like he really lets Barry, like manhandle Julie and like take charge, and he just like takes this back seat. So he does come to the fight at the end of the movie, but it's very awesome to see his character development. This one, he's just like on it at me, like I'm not, give me a gun, like I need a boat, I need it, like he's like fucking like let's go, like I'm escaping the hospital and getting my girl. So he's not fucking around this one. So I do think that's a benefit of watching them back to back too, because you can see I think both of our mains have huge character development, from first to second. So I do recommend for that to watch them back to back.
Okay. Well, since we're on the topic of that, what are your overall thoughts just on Julie James and her development and her from 1 to 2 in this sequel and kind of her character arc?
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely am fucking in love with it. I think it's handled so well. Like we talked about in the first one, and a lot of people like fucking come after her in the first one because she isn't, she's not nice to Helen, but she's going through like she was the one who wanted to go to the cops, so she's not as likable in the first one. She's kind of like doom and gloom and like, what are we doing? What are we doing? In the end, she has her fight. This one, I feel like there's more life to her. Like she had, like you said, she has her typical like PTSD and horror PTSD, but she's still trying to have fun and trying to move on. And I just feel for her more when she realizes that actually the crew, Tyrell, a lot of people they keep making her feel like she's crazy, that she's not seeing things. Like again, we have a couple, but we'll get to some scenes where she finds a body, but then it's cleaned up. So like everyone's like, you're crazy, like nothing's going on. So I feel for her because she already went through this. She's trying to move on. She knows it's happening again, but people are making her feel so crazy. She's starting to believe she is going crazy. And when shit does hit the fan and there's no denying it, she's all on, like, I'm fighter Julie James mode. Like, you're not going to get me. So I think her progression to, like, badass final girl in this one was so well earned, and I thought it was handled with care. And Jennifer Love Hewitt, again, like, her scream alone, dude, in this movie, like, she has some sequences when she's screaming, and I get chills every time still. So I hope we get some Jennifer Love Hewitt screaming in the new one. But yeah, I love it. Obviously, she's my fifth favorite final girl, and a big reason for that is because of I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah, I mean, her badassery is definitely cranked up a notch in this film, especially towards the end of this movie. I think what would have benefited for me personally in regards to these characters, especially Julie James, this movie, and this is what the original does so well, is we have that moral dilemma, and we have, the whole premise of the film is kind of, were they in the right, were they in the wrong?
Right.
Should they have gone forward to the police? We don't get any of that in this film. This is just a straight up, okay, the villain is back and he's haunting Julie and her friends. We don't have any moments of kind of gray area for these characters. Nothing else happens. This is all just kind of carryover from the events of the first one.
Right.
Which is fine. That in and of itself is fine, but I think for Julie James' character, it kind of, I would have liked to see more of that, and then more of that explored in this film. I don't know how you do it. I'm not even suggesting that it would have, I'm not suggesting a rewrite or anything, but yeah, they kind of progress her in her final girl status for just how badass she is, and she does save the day. You talk about Ray and how he's kind of a bitch in the first one. He's progressed in this one, but he kind of fucks up too in this one
drops
as well.
The ball a little bit
with the gun. Right. Yeah, he drops the ball, so he needs Julie to kind of pick up the pieces, and she does. And she's the major reason that they make it out of this movie as well. So I think in that regard, it's awesome, but I would have liked to see a little bit more depth with her character, maybe kind of tackling some other moral dilemmas like we did in the first, and it would have been cool to see that kind of carry over. Again, I don't know how you do it, but it would have been cool to see.
Well, that's why I like in the openings, I know it's a nightmare, but when she's going to confession, she's still, reeling from that moral dilemma when she's crying to, I think it's Ben Willis, but I like, that's why I appreciate the opening, and I guess I'll flip it on you, because I want to know now, does that mean that you appreciate the Ray stuff because he is given that moral dilemma? I know it's a fake out from Ben Willis, but when he's driving with Dave to go, get to the Bahamas, they obviously see a car broken down, and he's like, just keep going, man, just keep going. And he's like, he's like, you never know, they might not be dead. So he has that dilemma in that sequence. If you want to get to that sequence, I want to know how that works for you, because he goes.
Well, I love that scene. I love that scene, but I don't love how they just use that scene as kind of an homage to the original, and there really wasn't many moral repercussions to it, if that makes sense. I mean, obviously, it's used as a way to get Ray to not show up
out of commission,
and it also just is a good way to have a cool kill early on in the film. But other than that, he escapes the hospital, and it's not really mentioned again. He's kind of on the hunt now to kind of save Julie. But I do like that, and I do love that scene. That's kind of what I'm talking about, a scene like that again, which they kind of could have maybe implemented, maybe not the exact carbon copy as the first one, but something different that kind of looms over our characters throughout the film would have been cool to see. Let's talk about that scene, because
I love it.
I think this is I hate this stuff in movies. One of my biggest pet peeves is when their characters are driving down the road, right, and they see something in the road. And okay, you stop, you investigate. Obviously, that's going to happen because it's a horror film. But why does he have to pull the car so far away from the accident? Why doesn't he just pull the car right next to the guy? He parks 50 feet behind.
You know what? The guy's like, I already hit someone with the car once. I'm not fucking around this. I'm going to park way far away. But it was
so comically far away. I'm like, what are we doing?
That's to me. It's like that's the cheesiness that the camp. That's like the random person watching it, whatever, but us, I think it's hilarious. I fucking love that shit, that kind of camp.
It happens all the time in movies, and it always bothers
me. I love it. But what do you think of the actual fake out? He's walking up, sees the mannequin. And actually, talk about Scream. Freddy Prinze Jr. has a pretty good scream when he's yelling for Dave. I think he's a pretty good, underrated Marlon Boyd Scream King. I love the way it plays out, by the way. I love the kill, too, of Dave.
Well, yeah, I like the way it plays out, but this is kind of a gripe I have with a lot of the kills in this film. The kill was very quick, and it's not very kind of I don't know. It would have been cool if there was a little bit of a struggle, and maybe Freddie Prinze Jr. was, or I'm sorry, Ray was running towards the car, and we had a little bit more of a hold your breath moment. But it was just kind of
Do
a
the mouth,
quick
rip them
kill
out. Yeah.
with some gore, just to kind of satisfy audiences. So I was a little underwhelmed by the kill itself, but I think the actual sequence was cool. It was one of the stronger parts of the movie, I think, especially the first half of this movie.
Yeah, the gore is definitely the gore is definitely, we just talked about how like the first one it didn't need it, but like it's very like Halloween 1978, like minimal gore. This one definitely again the approach to Halloween 2, it just ups the gore. Like I said, I know you're not a fan of the kills, but it definitely is way bloodier than the first one. And I feel like you might, I mean, I know you're like kind of like on the fence about the new one, but I think you're gonna be, at least you're gonna enjoy the kills in the new one coming out in a couple weeks, because that's, they're talking about like, yeah, we're fucking going for it with the kills. So that's good news for you. But I like
I
the
know.
way,
I mean, I want cool
yeah.
kills with cool gore, but more importantly, I want that balance where it's like suspenseful.
Yeah.
And I want the kills to matter, and so we'll see. That's what makes a great. That's my personal favorite type of slashers. I mean, I like the campy stuff where it just goes full camp,
right,
but
fun, right.
for me to give a slasher a really high score, I like that balance where it kind of balances the two. So I got high hopes. I'm not going to hold my breath, but the trailer looks. We could talk about the trailer maybe at the end of this episode. But it hasn't sold me.
Really?
But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
Looks so fun. But so what do you think? I also I mean, we just did a chase scene episode, and there's quite a few in this movie. I do appreciate a nice car chase, and it's not long, but it's quick enough to get your blood flowing and get you like worried for Ray, because you don't know, like, we've seen these, like Randy was killed in Scream 2. Like, are they gonna take Ray out like before he even gets to see Julie and get to her? You don't know, but I appreciated that chase. And again, I know what Freddie Prinze Jr. got like a little bit of hate for the first one, but I think he came to play in this one, and I appreciated the chase scene. And I like how Ben Willis just fucked with him enough where like he assumed he's dead. He's like, oh, that guy's a bitch or whatever. He didn't like double check that he was dead once he fell down. He's like, I gotta get to the island. So I just think that Ray is very underestimated in these movies. So I appreciated the chase too.
Yeah. No, it was fine. I like how Ben just kind of instantly got into the car and just was all business. He's like, yeah, I got like you said, I gotta get to the Bahamas. So yeah,
gotta get my passport. I gotta remember my passport and get to the Bahamas.
No stalking for this guy. I'm all business. Yeah,
so funny. No, I really I agree. I like that sequence a lot, and I'm happy that I know you think that Ray should have been in it more, but he is given like important things to do. So pretty much after that, we're off to the Bahamas. We see that Ray did live and he's in a hospital. And Julie, Carla, Tyrell, and Will are off to the Bahamas. I like how on the plane, again, Will is not a good flyer, so he's freaking out. Again, I don't know if that's like fake or not, if he's like just fucking with him. And then you see on the boat that Tyrell is the one getting sick. It's fun. It's just a fun vacation. I can't believe that did you like the location? Because let's get to that. Do you like the Bahamas? I fucking love the setting of it. Does it work for you?
It again, it doesn't. I like that they change up the setting, and I like the concept of them being on an island. I just think the actual filming location, I think they filmed in Mexico. It's a resort in Mexico, I read.
Yeah.
I don't love where they actually filmed. I don't think it gave enough of that Bahamas feel. Like there was no white sand beaches and stuff. It was kind of just all kind of, it felt very closed in. Like the pool and everything was like in the middle of this resort. And I know once you get the storm and everything, that's kind of intentional, like to kind of feel a little claustrophobic, like they're trapped in this resort. And that's fine. But even before the storm comes, I would have liked to see more kind of atmosphere and aesthetic of kind of being in the Bahamas. I feel like we didn't get enough of that. So I think it was more of like the actual filming location that bothered me more than the concept of being, on the island.
Yeah, I'm like instantly like brought. I mean, again, I love me a summer movie, and I'm just instantly brought in. I think it's also smart, obviously for budget reasons and for like the plot in itself, that like the whole thing's a hoax. That they say it's like hurricane season's about to start. So that's imagine winning, like, I know it's a fake contest, but imagine winning a contest and going to an island, you find out that it's like the worst weather ever.
I know. They could have done that, but what would have helped me too is if they got there and like it was this huge party, and there was a ton of people there, and then all of a sudden, by the time the first night happens, like everyone's gone and they're isolated. Okay. So that would have helped with the vibes, but they were alone literally the entire time on this film. You get like a few people on the dock that are leaving like on the last last shuttle like across whatever. So, but other than that, it was I just I feel like they could have given me more Bahama vibes, and I just didn't get.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was It was enough for me, but I guess I get what you're saying with that. I just love that they switched it up. And then we're going back to Southport, the new one, so we have like the best of both.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you think about the setup of they all settle in, Carla and Tyrell have their own suite, and like Julian. It's kind of I love Carla, but she's kind of like putting Julian in a weird situation too with a lot of the things. Like
Yeah.
left alone. Like she has to like be respectful.
Well, she's
I
not
know-
a fan of Ray, right?
Well, yeah,
I mean, it's pretty clear from the get-go.
Right.
I think she even says when we first get introduced to her in the apartment or whatever, she's like, Ray's a great guy, but
Right.
it's Ray. Like he's
But
this
Ray's
fucking
there and Will's here.
weird
just, right.
fisherman from Southport. He's
Right.
never gonna leave his hometown.
I
I
get-
think she's trying to kind of imply like, Julie, you need to like spread your wings, and,
Right.
fly.
She's
a
being
little bit,
supportive,
like-
and I get it because Ray's not there for Julie as much with her PTSD, but also like that's her man, and like she clearly told you that several times, so it's kind of
Yeah.
like, come on now. So I
know.
get it, but Carla does end up being there for her. But I'm like, that's so fucked up to put Julie in such
I
an
know.
awkward. And again, Will's an asshole, but he's like, I got the couch. So like again, we're not like hate. I'm not hating Julie because I've never got the like intention that she's like down to hook up with him. I just think he's there and she has to put up slight flirting, which is to me is kind of innocent, but I never ever had like the implication that she was ever gonna go for him. But I do appreciate the setup and the drama of it all, and I like the first night. They go to the bartender Jennifer Esposito, they get their drinks, they have a karaoke, and then you have the whole cheesy like I Still Know We Do That Summer popping up on the screen when Julie's singing. And Jennifer Love Hewitt, she's got the singing chops. She made a song for this movie too, which I love. But I like that whole. I mean, it's cheesy '90s the karaoke, but I think that's part of the magic of these two movies. So I like the whole when she turns around and says, "I still know, but no one else saw it." I mean, that's drama, gold right here, soap opera gold. So I like it. What about you?
No, I mean it's just more of the same for me. It's more of like
Right,
the quick
right.
fake out where you're not quite sure if it was real or not. Yeah, it doesn't work for me. So
Okay.
well, okay, so let's get to the kills. Let's get to like
All right.
the
Let's go through
resort
some kills. Yeah,
cast
okay.
kills. What are some of your highlights? What are some of your favorite kills from the actual staff? I know there's one or two that we don't even see, but
Right.
we do get a couple kills that we do see. So what do you think of those?
I really like the buildup of what do you call him? The dockhand guy. I think his name is Derek
Oh,
or
yeah.
something. I like because Jack Black like pops up and scares him, and then he goes away, and then he hears someone walking up behind him, and he thinks he's like, "Yo, come help me," and then he falls into the water, and then he yells to come help him up. And I do like the shot of the hook like slashing him. Again, it's not too over the top. It's not like gruesome, but you get the splatter. But what I really love is after that kill, the fisherman just like iconic like steps up the dock and turns to walk, and the music like crescendos. So I thought that for the fisherman was pretty badass, like welcome back. So I thought that was iconic. I think Jack Black's kill might be the most gruesome in the movie. Again, you cannot wait for him to be killed because he's so annoying and over the top. That's what he's meant to do, but he gets stabbed in the hand and he gets friggin' impaled. So I thought his kill was pretty sweet. And then I feel bad for the poor cleaning woman. I do like the build up to that too, where she's finds the bloody sheets and then he just opens the door and kills her, and then you just see him like walking with her hung on the hook. But I would say for me, like I think the dockhand might be my favorite, even though Jack Black's the bloodiest, just because I love seeing the fisherman like walk up the dock. So I don't think that they're lacking in kills. I thought they kept me like thrilled. So I like them all, but I think that one might be my favorite. What about you? What's your least favorite and what's your favorite? I know you're not a fan of really much, but what do you think?
Well, I think my favorite might be the cleaning lady, just because fuck that lady. She was a bitch to Julie when they first arrived and like completely ignored her. If you remember.
Oh, yeah,
She was, like,
excuse
asking
me,
for help.
excuse me,
Yeah,
and she just kept
she
walking.
just like gave her the cold shoulder. So I didn't
That's
like
so
her.
funny.
So, but
That's
no,
hilarious.
I agree with you.
I've
I
never
think
heard
the
that. That's
dockhand
hilarious.
one is, I guess, a little bit better than the others. I think these kills are very just, and maybe this is what I don't like is the fisherman Ben Willis doesn't have that aura for me that other
Really?
killers have. So these feel very Friday the 13th to me, a lot of these kills, especially Jack Black's character and the dockhand, especially those two kills. They feel, because it's almost like you're just waiting for the fisherman to pop up. Like, you know it's going to happen, and it's kind of like you're sitting there with a smile on your face and you're ready for it to happen.
Right,
but
right.
it just doesn't have the juice, I think, because of Ben Willis just doesn't do it for me as...
Really?
Like, if that was a Jason kill, I'd be, like, hooting and hollering. But
Okay.
I just feel like he doesn't have that aura. I don't know.
That's and that's also a disconnect between me because obviously, guys, if you've been around for a while, he's one of my favorite classic horror. He was in our classic horror villain episode for me.
Yes.
So he's a biggie for me. So it's just I guess
Yeah,
it's
and he's
just a
great.
different-
He's
yeah.
great in the first one. And don't get me wrong,
Okay.
I do like him as a character, especially in the first one, because it's a little bit more balanced out. But because we have this film and it's just all about Ben Willis just going crazy, I don't think he has enough to kind of sustain these
Really?
kills
Okay.
and these sequences. So I think he was better utilized, like in the
OG?
first one with
Okay.
the Helen Shivers chase scene and with some of the set pieces. I think it really helped being in Southport. Maybe it's because he's not in Southport. He's kind of a
Okay.
fish out of water, if you will. This weird fisherman is in the Bahamas. Like, okay, this is kind of weird. So almost
Well,
like a
we-
little Jason Takes Manhattan. Like, like,
Yeah.
okay, what are we doing here?
Well, we do find out that he actually is not a stranger to the island when we get some reveals
Yes.
going on. Yeah, so that's all. Again,
Yeah, I can't
hilarious,
wait to talk
fun.
about kind of the lore at the end of this
Yeah,
film because they definitely give us a lot.
They do. They really do. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But what do you think about you get like kind of the throwback to her finding I know in the first one she found oh my god, I forget the guy's name in the first one when she finds him in the trunk, the crabs, but you get a throwback another pop out when she finds the dockhand guy, he like drops down in the closet. I like that jump scare, and again it gives another excuse to hear Jennifer Love Hewitt's scream. So you get a whole kind of thing again where like he unrealistically like cleans up the scene just as quick as in the first one. So again, that's to me is cheesy fun, but I like that throwback, and poor Julie is just going through it. And the hotel manager,
Yeah.
Jeffrey Combs, he's so good. He's a horror legend, but he's such an asshole. The hotel man, Mr. Brooks, is such an
I
asshole.
know. No, I know. So Julie technically finds the first victim, but it's a fake out, and she's kind of gaslit into thinking that maybe it's not real. So I like how she goes into the tanning bed, and now all of our side characters find the victims,
Right.
not Julie.
Fucking love that
So
sequence,
they're the
dude.
ones that come to the conclusion, and they're the ones freaking out, and then Julie obviously has to get saved. So I like that kind of role reversal, how they're kind of the ones to find all the bodies. I thought that was pretty interesting.
And it's just so, again, I know it's like, but it's just like, after she finds the body, no one else believes her. She's like, I want Office Island now. And he's like, you fucking can't go anywhere. The storm's coming.
Yeah.
So it's like, they're stranded. So again, it's like, that's like horror movie 101, but I appreciate that. Yeah, I fucking love the build-up. And so let's get to okay, we can like skip around some stuff. But what do you think about that set piece where like, the next day, Julie's upset, and Carl's like, we're gonna go work out, and the other two guys like can go to like I think they're trying to find pot or whatever. But I fucking love this 1-2 punch. I always think of, I know you're gonna disagree, but I think that this tanning scene was like an inspiration for like what was to come in Final Destination 3, and I just fucking love the build up of the sequence of Carla working out, Julie in the tanning salon, and she goes to find the bodies in the dryer. A nice throwback to the beginning where like Julie yelled at her for putting her sneakers in the dryer, and then she goes to find the bodies in the dryer. I mean, to me, it's like chef's kiss horror set piece right here, and I love how they go. Tyrell and Will go to help Carla, and then they just hear Julie's screams. And I do like the iconic shot of like the fisherman opening the doors. It's raining outside. He walks in slowly, and he just ties her in there in the tanning bed. Oh, to me, it's so good. And again, you hear Jennifer Love Hewitt scream and struggle to get out of there. I fucking love it. And I like how we don't wait until like the third act for the whole crew to be like, yo, something's fucked up. I like how they're in on it, like right at the end of the second act. They find the hotel manager who I think that fucking, I know we didn't see his death, but the reveal of his body with the machete in his head, the blood everywhere, and the blood on the wall of I Still Know, I like that was fucking awesome. So I think this kind of, set piece where everything comes, to a head where everyone's like, oh fuck, there's a killer here. I thought that was fucking great. I have a smile on my face every time the scene comes on.
Yeah, it's okay. This is where the movie kind of kicks into high gear from this point on.
Right.
So this is kind of where I appreciate it a little bit more. Yeah, I like it. I think the tanning bed scene is pretty. I think it's the most suspenseful scene in the whole movie.
Oh,
Dare I say how you're just kind of. It's a long time, but from the time he cranks it up all the
right.
way to the time that they save her, I mean, it's a couple minutes sequence where you're like really holding your breath for your girl Julie. So I think this was a pretty effective suspense with her. You know, them finding the bodies. It was like I said, it was cool how they were the ones to find the bodies kind of
Right.
separately at the same time, and that was cool. And yeah, I think this is when kind of the movie takes a turn and is a little bit more enjoyable from here on out for me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and obviously the two-way radio when they go see the manager, that's destroyed too. So they literally have like no point of contact, no nothing. We should mention Estes because he's kind of an important player towards the end. Bill Cobb's like legend, rest in peace. But he has a very important role because again we kind of get a little kooky and they like go to find Estes the hand. I think he's like the boat hand porter or whatever. They go to find him and they see that he's like has some of their items and like they theorize that he's using like voodoo against them. So we really get kooky for a second here with the theorizing, but
Yeah,
obviously that's not what it appears to be. And he explains that he was like trying to protect them, blah blah blah. They don't believe him, but I appreciate that because then you have certain characters thinking it's him, and Julie's like, no, it's not him, it's Ben. It's Ben Willis. How do you think about Julie's character that she obviously Carla knows what happened, but she never told Carla that they didn't find the body. I always thought that was again, I'm on Team Julie, like, she didn't want to involve anyone, but also I understand Carla's perspective. She's like, yo, I'm living with you. Like I could be put in danger that the killer after you was never found. So I like that conflict too.
yeah. I don't blame her.
Yeah.
I don't blame Julie. I think maybe I do the same thing. I don't want to like, because it's something she's trying to move on from.
Right.
You're gonna
Right.
tell everyone you've ever met, from now on that all the grisly details of what happened and how they didn't find a body. So I think that's a little disingenuous because I think even if she did tell Carla, I don't think Carla would have changed. I don't think she would have
No.
moved out. I
No,
think
I
she
don't
would
think
have
so either.
stayed and
Right.
been like, oh yeah, he's dead. Like you just got to move on. So
Right.
I yeah, I understand why they kind of did it in this movie towards the end to kind of give a little conflict and a little drama between the two of them, but I don't even think it's really a factor because even if she did tell her, I don't think it would have
Right.
changed anything.
What do you think about Estes, like Bill Cobb, being the one who delivers some exposition about Ben Willis that, he had two children, a wife, and that he murdered his wife when he found out about an affair, and all that. I like that, like, and again, that guy, his voice, Bill Cobb's voice is so good, so I like that he was, like, the lore guy in this one a bit.
Yeah, I don't really have a strong opinion on it.
Okay.
What do you think? Because I'm kind of conflicted on it. I like the Ben we get from the original, without all of this kind of extra. But
With the Ben who
I
killed
don't
his, like,
know.
daughter's boyfriend in the first one, that was, like, the hook of it, and that's, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. I guess I don't really have a strong opinion on it. It's just kind of
I think it's
they kind of used it as a way to kind of just explain why
why
he's
there and why now.
they're
Right,
why
right,
they're
right.
there in the Bahamas and stuff. And it's kind of confusing how Estes kind of just assumes it's him. Like, did he always wear a fisherman outfit when he was in the Bahamas? Like, what? You know what I mean?
I think
So,
he's like he says he like saw him like on the grounds and he remembered him, whatever. But
yeah.
I think it's like like once again like this is where some people have issues with franchises. I think the natural thing when these things go on is that you have to delve into some lore, and for this kind of like vibe and tone, I was in love with it for this movie. But
Okay.
I get why other people like the mystery of the first one, where you do get an answer in the first one, but it's more like subtle and low key. This one's like thrown in your face, like over the top.
Yeah.
Let's go. And so again, it's just preference. Yeah.
I don't really mind it. What I mind more is our killer reveal
No,
at the end and the monologues of it all. I think that was a little too overboard. It was a little too Scream-esque for me. A
it
little,
was definitely killer
little too
monologue, which
camp.
and obviously I
Yeah.
love. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't need to see that in every single slasher and every
Yeah.
single Scream ripoff.
Yeah.
I mean, we can tone that down. I think that could have been. Maybe that's where Ben loses a little aura too, where he's just kind of talking. It's like, what is like?
I love
It's
it.
just this regular old man. Like, what,
I love it.
what's going on here?
So you think he was more menacing in the OG?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think less
I
is
get.
more
It's
with,
just a
with the
different
guy
tone.
like the
Yeah.
fisherman.
Different tone.
Yeah, I mean, you can't see his face. I don't know. I think revealing too much with a guy like the fisherman, like Ben Willis, I think maybe he loses that aura a bit, at least for me.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it in this one. What do you think about? So let's get back to some kills. Obviously, we've talked about Nancy the bartender briefly earlier, but they go to hide. Actually, Will, again, another hint to Will being involved. Estes leaves and Will's like, "Where's Estes? I gotta go find him." So he, separates from the crew, and then they go to hide in the kitchen because Tyrell's fucking hungry. And we get Nancy a nice, she hits him, rightfully so, because she's hiding. What do you think about Tyrell's death? I love how he's just like, he's asked, he's like, as far as I'm concerned, I didn't see no goddamn Fisher. I'm tired, I'm hungry, I'm fucking horny, I didn't see no Fisher. And then he just fucking, Bemos just fucking shoves it through his throat, the hook. I love that sequence. It's so fucking fun. And it was time for him to exit stage so we can have a chase scene with these three ladies, which I fucking love so much.
Yeah. Yeah, it sets up a pretty cool chase, pretty unique chase because it's got three characters. You usually see one,
Right.
sometimes two,
Right.
but three characters, and obviously Julie, is going to escape and live to the end, but you have your other two, and either of them could have died at any moment. So
Carla, it's
I thought
close
that was
call.
pretty. Yeah,
Close call.
yeah, I thought
Poor
that was
Carla.
a pretty unique sequence. Yeah, I mean Tyrell got the kill that a character like that deserves.
Right,
Just
right,
an
right.
over the top, just fun kill. But yeah, it's interesting. So obviously you're obsessed with this sequence. The Brandy chase scene and everything. Why
Oh.
don't you talk us through that? and
Yeah.
just kind of go.
You know
through
why
that,
I love it? Because like we talk about, even you guys go check our episode out. I love that in this movie. To me, chase scenes are so hard to execute because you has to be long enough, but it can't be too long because we have a movie. And I think a lot of newer movies forget that we love slashers, we love our kills, but we like building up to them. And I feel like so many movies these days are lacking chase scenes. You have a few here and there that are iconic, but I like in this movie, first of all, you said we have three women. Again, we have Nancy, who we're not attached to, but we like don't hate her. Like I kind of like her. I vibed with her. I fucked with her. We have Julie, our hero, and then we have Carla, who is like she's not Helen Shivers, because no one is, but she is the best friend. So it's like, who's gonna die? Are they gonna kill her off too? I like how it's three of them. I like how we go through the kitchen, through the lobby, up into an attic. We find out that, he was above them and he could see through the ceiling and watch them sleep. She's like, that's my fucking bedroom. So I thought that was creepy. And I love how when he gets into the attic, he like gets Brandy in the sneaker, but he doesn't get her. Then they go outside on a rooftop. It's fucking crazy. Brandy's chased on a rooftop. I like how she's like falls on the bed and he almost gets her, and then she has to, I mean, she's an idiot. She's an idiot for standing up on the rooftop instead of staying on her fours to balance everything, and she falls through. But I love the sequence. I don't even know what you want to call that, like a garden room or whatever. But he opens the doors and she's locked out. She can't get it, and he's just walking up to her like Michael Myers, ready to get the kill. But Julie James is like, "No, bitch, you're not getting my friend again." And this is where you get in my opinion, when the badass. You see Julie grab the axe. She's like, "Get out of the way! Get out of the way!" And she just axes out the fucking door window. And Brandy, thankfully she's skinny, she fits through the little hole and just makes it in time before she dies. A nice little throwback against some of these other horror movies when you have someone like fiddling with the keys, like Nancy. She can't get the right key. I think that to me is the most suspenseful sequence of the movie, and I think it plays out perfectly. And I think the chase is not obviously as legendary as Helen Shivers, but for a sequel that's more like pedal to the metal fun, I thought that it went long enough and it was unique enough to leave a lasting impression. And I'm happy that Carla just made it out.
Yeah, I agree with most of what you said. I do think it's unique.
Right.
Most importantly, I think it's obviously not as iconic as Helen Shivers, but
Of
I
course.
think to kind of have a sequel, and everyone loves the original chase scene in the first one, to have a scene not live up to it, but to kind of step in its footprints. I think they did a good job because of how unique it was. Like you said, it was a lot of different kind of things going on. She's on the roof. She collapses through. She's in different room. You have her on the other side of the door. I think it was well done. And yeah, it was one of those moments where you weren't sure if Julie was going to get to her in time, and
Right.
it could have very well been a classic slasher moment where he gets to Carla and Julie has to watch Carla get gutted
Right.
like right in front of her. So
Right.
it could have gone either way for sure. So what do you think about Carla's character? And now that we're at the end, we can talk about it. Do you agree with them making her live and her not dying? Do you think maybe she should have died for a little bit more emotional impact? Or how do you think they handled her character? I know you love the character, so
Yeah. First of all, I love Carla. I think that she's a really good horror character. And I guess technically like Final Girl S now. I like that they switched it up because, like you said, I know what you did last summer. The events after what they did a year later happened a year ago. So she just lost her best friend, and Helen Shivers, and she's still dealing through with that fallout. And you see, like again, like I talked about in the beginning of the movie, she's still emotional, obviously, over that. So I kind of didn't need Julie to like go through another heartbreaking loss like that in the moment. I'm actually happy that she had that. Actually, she thinks that Carla died because it will get in a little bit. Right after this, they find the bodies in the basement, and then Will shows up, the hero, to save the day, and then Carla and Nancy separate again, and Will and Julie are alone. That's when you get the reveal right there, and then Julie just figures that Carla's dead, so she kind of does think, and because at the very end she's like, "Oh my god, I thought I'd never see you again," when Carla's like crippled and like limping to her. But I think that it was the right choice to make her live, because obviously these days, if there ever was a sequel, which we're getting 25 plus years later, that it is nostalgic for us to see characters from the past. And whether she's a cameo in the new one and then she goes on to the sequel if they make it, or if she just pops up quick, it's always good to see a familiar face. And I think that if she was killed for a movie that came out a year later, it wouldn't have as much as an impact. If she was killed if the sequel was made 10 years after the first one, I may have felt different and thought she might have needed that emotional impact to have Brandy get killed. But I'm happy she survived, and I thought it was the right choice for this movie and direct sequel, literally a year later. Do you think she should have been killed off, or are you fine with her making it out?
I don't have an issue with her making
Yeah.
it out. I think it was fine. I think she was an important enough character to justify her living. I think that, like you said, because this movie came out a year later,
Right.
the events in the movie are a year later, we didn't need that kill per se. I think Julie has been through enough. So
Exactly.
yeah, I agree with you. I think it's fine that she lived. I was just curious to hear kind of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I'm happy. And again, I'm the one who's like, I love the murder and death, but I appreciate that. Do you not want her? I know you're like, don't like this movie, but are you gonna be mad if she pops up in the new movie?
No, I'm not gonna be. I'm not gonna be mad. It's
Okay,
I'm just not a fan of this film.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I hope they don't talk about this movie too much, and they
I don't
stick
think
to the
so.
original.
I think it's gonna be a lot of homages to the original, and just like enough
Yeah, we're in
homages to let people
Southport
know
again,
that.
so-
I think there's supposed to be enough homages to let people know that like the sequel is canon, and that's it. I don't think it's gonna be too over the top and too.
Yeah.
I think maybe we'll see Brandy, and that'll be the direct homage, and that's pretty much it.
Uh-huh. Okay, so let's get to the big reveal. and everything.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
to me, this is where you get, in my opinion, camp, like just campy goodness in this reveal. Again, we have a big never split up moment. This is what we talk about every week here. They literally split up because when Will comes to save them, it appears that he's injured. He has blood everywhere. He said Estes attacked him, when he went to find him at the boat on the water. We didn't talk, we do have that weird moment when Will does go up to Estes and he's like, "Where are you going? Where are you going?" Estes just turns around and is like, "We're not going anywhere." And then it just, we cut from that scene so you don't see what happens. So that was like, oh, what the fuck's going on? But so, Carla and Nancy leave to go get a first aid kit, and Julie stays with Will to like attend to his wounds. And she is just like, again, Jennifer Love Hewitt is just, she's fucking came to play. She's like, Pat, she's like, I can't find a wound. You okay? And he's like, because it's not my blood. She like stops and slowly, she's like, not my blood, Julie. What's your favorite radio station, Julie? I'm like, oh, this fucking asshole. So I fucking am obsessed. He just grabs her and starts dragging her out. You get another iconic scream. I like the reveal. I'm happy because I did not want Will to be the new. I don't know. I didn't think Will was worthy enough to be a a love interest for Julie. I thought his like nice guy play was like that guy's a secret asshole, whether he's a killer or not. I loved it. I like how he like switches from like smiling when he like reveals himself to like straight face and just drags her out. I think that the actor, what's it? I want to go back to his. I don't know what he's done. I didn't follow his career obviously, but I think that he comes to play that actor, and he's delivering the goods, and he's going. Oh, Matthew Settle. I think he's going over the top enough. So I like that reveal, and then I like the reveal when he brings her out to the graveyard. Will Benson, Ben's son, you get it? And then he just says, "Hi, Dad," and Ben Willis pops up. I fucking love it. I mean, come on, that's my shit. I do want to talk about though quick that Julie, when she goes to the grave, I love her little final girl moment. Like, what are you waiting for moment? And this one is like, because he has her name written and like her date of death is 1998, and she's like, "Do you hear me? My grave stays empty." That's her like, "What are you waiting for?" moment. I fucking love that moment. Just want to give a shout out to that. But yeah, I love the whole campiness of the reveal. I know you obviously think it's too Stream-esque and are not a fan of it.
Yeah,
so
it's too much for me. It's too much of a carbon copy. Like
Okay.
you said, "Oh, hi, Dad." Yeah, like the whole.
I
like, the
love
whole
that.
reveal.
I giggle every time.
It's not. Yeah, it doesn't do it for me. But
Okay.
I understand why it does for
Yeah.
you, obviously. But yeah, I think he's fine. I'm glad that they don't make Will that he's not actually the fisherman, that his father is still the fisherman. So that's cool. I do like that aspect, and kind of he was just kind of a helping hand and was helping his dad the whole time, but his dad was the one that was actually doing all the kills and everything. So I thought that was good. But yeah, the whole campiness of it all, it just felt too much like
Okay.
a ripoff of Scream. So I was like, what kind of movie am I watching right now? So
Oh, it's so
yeah, when Ray shows up though, Ray, my boy Ray, this is great. I love Ray.
Love
The gun
fucking Ray.
the gun just doesn't go off. It just clicks, and you're like, "Oh no, really? He went through all this.
I know.
Is he gonna
made
die
it.
now? Like, wouldn't that be
He's in a
crazy if he
cast,
just
like
died?
driving a boat in a hurricane. And he shows up, like, "Let her go now." I love how Will's just like, "Oh, you gotta be shitting me."
Yeah,
What do you think, before we get to the quick, fight, what do you think about Nancy's death, where she's literally trapped under Estes and he just shoves whatever it is down into her, and then Brandy, is taken out because she passes out, like he goes to stab her, she gets knocked out. I thought that was a cool scene, and poor Nancy is just, because I'm a claustrophobic person, and she's so helpless because it's dead weight, because Estes is dead on top of her, and she's just struggling to push him off, but she just has to kind of like accept her fate because there's no escaping that. I thought that for a claustrophobic person and someone who does like to believe I have fight in me to get out, you can tell she wants to so bad, but she's just no bueno, no good. I like that. I appreciated that kill. It's not graphic, but
it
it's
was
cool.
okay.
Yeah.
It was okay. I think it happens a little bit too late in the movie. I
Okay.
think at this point in the movie, I'm just like, okay, let's get to the whole showdown.
Right.
So
The
it's
Julie
kind
Ray
of a
showdown,
throw and
yeah.
kill in the middle. So I think maybe if it would have happened earlier, it would have had a bigger impact on me. But I think it was well done. Yeah, she was kind of a nothing character. I kind of liked her too, but she was always going to be Cannon Father. She was either going to be Cannon Father or she was going to be like one of the villains, like the daughter or something. So
Right.
it was one or the other. So you kind of expected that to happen. So yeah.
I think it's so friggin' like they go pretty cruel and like kind of like sleazy when he's like, I guess they obviously, you said that Ray fucks up with the gun, he leaves the safety on or whatever he does, and they start like beating the shit out of him and kicking him, and they just like almost beating him to death. And I hate the line where he's like, Will like props him up, he's like, "I want you to think about all the things we're gonna do to her." I'm like, oh, that's so like poor Ray, like that's nasty to hear. They get pretty mean to him. But I just love that Ray is like, so like he's taking it, but he's so calm in the moment where he just has that one quick fake out punch, and he just fucking psychs them out, psychs Ben. He gets one up on Ben Willis so bad in that moment. What do you think about how Will goes out? That's literally his dad that causes his death because of what Ray does to fake him out. He punches him and gets out of the way. I love it.
Yeah, I like it. I like it that because he had to die. I
Right.
think at this point Will had to
Me
die.
too,
I
yeah.
like that they didn't kill him.
Right.
So they remain kind of, their hands are clean still, in a sense. So I like how
For the moment, yeah.
his father is the one who's still getting his hands dirty and killing everyone.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting. I like that too.
Right, and like all Ben Willis did, it's causing like so much more havoc for himself too. Yeah, I love that, and I love how like after he like Ben Willis obviously he's like, "Whoa, fuck! I just killed my son." He's like, "Ah!" Right after Ray, and then Julie, my girl, she knows how to work a gun, so she starts shooting him. She's like, just fucking die. And I'm like, oh, again, Jennifer Love Hewitt. I want that energy in the new movie. I want Julie James. 25 years later, I still know we do that summer, Julie James, but I love it when she tells him to just fucking die and he falls into the grave. Love it. Love that. I love that Ray made it out. I know a lot of people like, I'll kill someone off. I like that we have a final boy and final girl in this franchise. I'm very nervous that I know Dewey had to die in Scream 5 because he affected Gail and Sydney the most, but I'm nervous that we're gonna get a Dewey 2.0 in the new one, and Ray's gonna
Ray's
be
a goner.
taken out.
Ray's definitely a goner. Yeah, there's no
I
way.
think he's a goner, but I really hope that he makes it to. I don't want him to be a second. I want him to be a third act kill if he dies, and I'm nervous that they're not gonna do that. But that's for the new movie. But I'm just really nervous about that. But they do make it out. We find out that Carla lives. And then we get, because in these movies so far, people are so, I feel like, airheaded, because in the first one they're like, oh, at the end he finds her in the shower, and I'm like, no, that's like a nightmare. Like, it's really like a jump scare ending nightmare, because we found out at the beginning of the movie she has nightmares. So the same thing goes for the people, like, how they're dead, how are they doing this, how are they back? I'm like, are you guys that like airheaded? Like, clearly she's having another nightmare in this finale, which I love. I really love I think the one final jump scare is way better, or one final scare is way better in this one than the OG. I like how we get the build up with her and Ray, that they got a house. He's like aggressively brushing his teeth. I guess that's when the first electric toothbrushes must have came out. So he's brushing his teeth at the end of this movie, and Julie goes downstairs and she's the windows open, and we get her sitting, and then I love how the chair starts rocking, and then he just hooks her from under the bed and pulls her in, and we get like probably one of the most iconic screams, I would say, in slasher history, when Jennifer Hewitt's just getting pulled under the bed and screaming. But clearly, guys, that didn't really happen. That's a nightmare. So I feel like people, when they question that, I'm like, really? Are you that? Like, come on now. But I like the way it ends with that final scare. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so cliche that I think it throws people off. But yeah, I mean, it's I'm ready for the movie to wrap up at this point, so I'm kind of
it's such a bummer.
But yeah,
that
it's
you didn't have
decent.
as much fun with this one.
So what do you think? Do you think they're still going to be together in the new one, or are they going to pull like a?
I don't think they're going to be together.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I hate when movies do that, but I know.
But to me, I mean, I know what you're saying, but I think it makes more sense because it's been so long. It's been so many years. So I guess, I mean, they really aren't having too much luck being together with trying to get killed 2 years in a row. But I think that naturally, that's what, I mean, when you're dealing with such a traumatic event, I know it's like cliche, but I feel like you naturally would be at odds, and it's kind of like that person's a reminder of what happened to you.
I'm just worried that in the trailers especially, and maybe they did this intentionally, that we don't see Julie and Ray much together. I'm worried that they're going to use Ray's death as a way to pull Julie in.
No,
and be a
they're gonna interact. They'll have scenes together. So
you think they'll have scenes together?
Yeah, I think they'll have.
But still, even still, I think they're going to use Ray and his death, and she's going to be kind of on the fence, and then it's going to pull her in. So we'll see.
I literally think, again, people, to me, it's like simplicity is more with them. So I think the new one's literally going to be this new crew goes through something semi-similar. I think they're going to switch up the accent a little bit, but obviously not going to do like carbon copy, but they're literally going to go to these people who it's happened to. I know it's so cheesy, but that's what this franchise is. They're going to go for them for help because they're like, oh, these two Southport people went through it. I don't think that Julie is going to be brought in because something happening. I think the kids are just going to literally go to them like for advice, and then I do.
So you don't think it's going to be related at all to the events?
I don't.
Like
I think
the connection to Ben Willis is going to be completely like a copycat killer. You think?
I don't think. I mean, obviously Ben Willis is dead. I think I can maybe see it being. I don't even think it's gonna be. I was gonna say maybe there's a relation or relative, but I don't think so. I think someone's gonna take on like the Southport, like he's gonna be like the boogeyman of Southport, and someone else is doing that to this group for what happened. He's gonna take on that mantle. But I think Julie and Ray are gonna be like advocates for these kids, and then they're just pulled in, and then they're in the crosshairs. And I do think that Julie and Ray will have a significant amount of I do hope that Julie has more screen time in this one than Neb Sydney had in Scream 5. But I don't think that Ray's death, like Dewey, is gonna be what bring Julie back. I hope not, at least, because that to me is like, you're really Scream just did that, and we don't need that done again. So I think he
Well,
might
yeah.
die, but I don't think he's gonna die to bring Julie back. I'm really hoping
Okay.
don't. I hope not.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see. But yeah. Okay, we got through it. I still know what you did last summer.
Whew.
And very different opinions. So
Yeah,
why
it
don't
bums me
we
out,
Get
yeah.
to our never split up moments. I think you won. You said the poll, so I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I mentioned a few. I mentioned, obviously they all split up at the end. That's a classic never split up, which I want to go for, but I'm not, because every time I love Carla, and every time I watch her stand up when she's on like the roof, like trying to, and it's glass ceiling. So every time I watch her like stand up, and she literally like stands on the same thing with 2 feet, I'm like, girl, this is like common physics. Like, balance your weight or you're falling through that thing. And it hurts her when she does. So my thing is that Carla just like, I know you're in a heightened situation, but girl, let's have some common sense and balance out. So every time I see this scene, I'm like, what are you doing standing on the same glass platform? Like, balance your weight. So that's my thing, is that Carla doesn't, balance her weight on the glass ceiling. It just pisses me off every time.
Okay, that's a good moment. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I mentioned it. My boy Ray getting
Okay.
out of the car. Not only getting
Okay,
out of the car, but parking so far away from the scene and leaving his buddy all alone. Obviously, he can't expect a mannequin to be in the road and for it to be this elaborate trap. But you have a little bit of experience with accidents in the middle of the night, so maybe it'll be a little bit smarter. I think he definitely dropped the ball in that scene, and it's something that always pisses me off. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Ray kind of splitting up from his buddy, his fishing buddy, and getting out of the car to investigate and trying to be a little bit too much of a hero.
All right, yeah, Ray trying to be the hero. All right, I like it. I'm happy we talked about it. I'm just bummed that you don't enjoy the movie a little more.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it turns around. I hope that you're brought back on with a new one.
I think so. I think I'm gonna like it. Hopefully more than this one.
Okay.
We'll see. I don't know if it's gonna reach the level of the original, but I'm predicting it might be like in the middle of my ranking. But we'll see. Yeah, I'm excited to watch it. It'll be out in a couple weeks. So okay, let's do our scores and then we'll wrap it up. You can go first if you want.
Yeah, cool. Guys, I gave the original 9.9. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And it's so funny because whenever I was like preparing to do this, I'm like, oh, like the original clearly, but then I'm like, no, I kind of love them equally for different reasons. But I will say the first one, like Nolan said, like it has more, like it's the OG, so it has more of like, when you think about it, when you think of iconic things, that's like you go back to Helen Shivers, you go back to some of the fishermen, you go back to Jennifer Love Hewitt on the boat at the end. So I will agree that the original is more like iconic moments and shots, but this one just like campy, bloody summer blast with a badass final girl and some great, in my opinion, kills and fun. So I will give the original a slight edge, but I watched this one just as much and I love it just as much. So I'm going to give this one a 9.8 because it's one of my babies. And I love me a sequel. I love me like a OG sequel. So this is up there. And I really hope that the new one, if it like is, 70% as good in my opinion as these two, then I'll be satisfied. I don't think it's going to reach the heights to my 90s nostalgia of these two, but if it's like close, I'll be a very happy person. So yeah, 9.8 for I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. I can't wait to watch it again in a couple days for 4th of July.
Yeah, that is crazy. This is going to be one of our biggest
Yeah.
deviations. Yeah, like I said, I'll be quick with this. It didn't work for me. You said that this movie's fun. I don't really think this movie's fun. I think the camp just misses with me. Maybe it's because of Ben Willis, the fisherman. I don't really love him in this film as much as the original. I kind of wanted the same vibes as the original to kind of carry that tone with the suspense and everything, and I think it just goes a little bit too overboard without having any sort of weight to any of the kills. And I don't laugh. Like, I know you laugh in this film, so I think it just doesn't strike a chord with me, and that's the biggest reason why I don't enjoy this film. I don't really sit there, with a smile on my face laughing like maybe you do. So yeah, this is going to be a low score. I'm going to give it a 5.3
Oh my
for
god.
me.
Okay.
5.3. Yeah.
But not a complete unwatchable disaster. Like, it's not disaster.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, it's
Pretty-
not. And I'm sure, we'll see with the new one. Hopefully, they don't mention this one too much to where I could skip it in my rewatch of the franchise. But I could power through it if I need to. It's a good enough movie. Yeah.
I mean, I love that they didn't reckon it, but I honestly think that you might be satisfied that you're gonna get like 1 or 2 homages to this one. It's gonna be all about the OG, so you might be in good hands with that. Honestly,
I think they're gonna largely follow the requel formula and just kind of stick to the OG. So we'll see. Okay, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Stick around for next week where we are covering, I believe, 28 years later.
Yeah, I gotta go see it. Yes, I gotta go see it this week.
Yes, you gotta go see it. That's gonna be a fun time. And until next time, this is the Never Split Up podcast. We'll see you later. Bye.